All right, so I really wanted to talk about the growing or expanding Earth today and really kind of break it down a little bit more. I did talk about it in an earlier video and I really didn't get into some of the details, and so I really wanted to do that today and then show you a couple things on Google Earth, take a trip basically around the world and show you how everything fits together. So first of all, let's start with some background here. And there is a problem with dinosaurs and fossils. So first of all, fossils. Um, you would think that they would be found in the ocean all over the world, right? If the Earth has been its same size, constant, for 4.5 billion years, then we should find these ancient fossils on the seafloor. But we don't. We see them in mountaintops and on the land. Um, Marine fossils high above sea level. This page here is trying to show you the correlation between the Great Flood and and fossils, basically saying, that because of the flood, these fossils were deposited basically onto the land in mountaintops and then were left there after the waters subsided. Now, I don't agree with that, but they are almost there. And I would like to read something from, excuse me. See, the Bible here suggests expanding Earth. They also, if you remember the movie Noah's Ark, the recent one with Russell Crowe. Now, I don't want to show any clips because I'll probably get a copyright strike, but in that movie, if you remember, all of the water came from the ground. I mean, it was raining in the end there, right? But most of the water that we see in that movie, it came from the earth, huge gushes of water shooting up into the sky from the ground. This is where the water came from. And in Genesis 7:11, we read that at the initiation of the flood, all the fountains of the great deep were broken up. In other words, the earth's crust was split open all around the globe, and water apparently burst forth as fountains from inside the earth. We then read in Genesis 7:24, 8:2, that these fountains were open for 150 days. No wonder the ocean volume increased so much that the ocean waters flooded over the continents. So, during that flood, it wouldn't have surprised me that this was caused from the expanding Earth. And, maybe during certain times in history, this can prove great cataclysms, right? We always look for external reasons like an asteroid or a comet or something like that that took out the dinosaurs or caused these things to happen. When in fact, it would have been maybe the Earth cracks open and releases all this water. So this also means that water is produced in a different way from inside the Earth, which also goes against mainstream science big time, and goes against their scarcity plan, right, with oil and water. Water is supposed to be scarce, same as oil, a fossil fuel, which is false. It is a renewable resource that is created by the earth itself, the lifeblood of the earth. So, if anyone really, found out about this and this started getting promoted, their whole paradigm would fall apart. So let's go to here. As you can also see, this is where they find fossils, like in the Grand Canyon and in the Himalayas, you'll find fossils and whale bones and things of this nature. So now let's go to dinosaurs. Well, also here, I wanted to read this a little bit or just show it to you here. oldest fossils on Earth discovered in 3.7 billion-year-old Greenland rocks. So, here's the oldest fossils on Earth, and where are they found? Well, not in the oceans, they're found on land, right? So here's the problem with the big dinosaurs, all right? And this is a really good, I'm going to leave links for all this stuff. Dinosaurtheory.com, the paradox of large dinosaurs, all right? See, now there's a problem with dinosaurs, and this is where the stupid flat earthers come in because, well, they say, oh, look at, see, all the problems with dinosaurs, they couldn't have existed. That means the earth is flat. Anyway, so let's get in here. These are the problems with the dinosaurs, okay? Inadequate bone strength to support the largest dinosaurs, right? So it's been found that their bones just are not strong enough, right? When you analyze them, they're not dense enough to support their weight, basically, right? And inadequate muscle strength to lift and move the largest dinosaurs. Their muscles weren't strong enough, right? These animals, if they were to live in today's gravity, they would collapse under their own weight. They just would not be able to function, survive. It would be impossible. So this whole idea, like Jurassic Park puts out there, that you can just make these things from DNA and can run around and do all that. It would be impossible to do. You might be able to create one in a lab somewhere, but it wouldn't be able to function once it started to grow. It would collapse under its own weight. It would not be strong enough to support its own body, basically. Right? Unacceptable high blood pressure and stress on the heart of the tallest dinosaurs. Okay, so and the aerodynamics principle showing that I'm really not sure how to pronounce that. The flying dinosaurs, anyways, should have not flown, right? So you see the pterodactyls and these types of animals, they were just basically too heavy to fly almost, right? Like they would be. In this gravity, they would not be able to fly. They could back when they were alive, though. So let's get back to the unacceptable high blood pressure. See, mainly with these larger animals with the long necks, like the brontosaurus, and right here, right? See, so basically what they're saying is that in today's gravity, if this animal was to exist, it would have to have this gigantic heart to actually get the blood up to the brain, right? So this animal would not be able to survive today at all. It would be impossible. Okay, and here we have dinox.org, and they break this down really good in a few papers here. And the Dinosaurs and the Expanding Earth is a book that you can buy to read about it. And let me read something here. Okay, during the dinosaurs' time, a totally different scale emerges. There were sauropod dinosaurs such as Brachiosaurus, several times the mass of the largest elephant with long necks and tails. The largest meat-eating dinosaurs included the elephant-sized Allosaurus and the Tyrannosaurus rex. These animals were typical for their age, and if the whole cross-section of the dinosaur's life is compared with today's life, then the increased scale of the ancient life is clear. This larger scale of life during the dinosaurs' time could be explained by a reduced gravity on an ancient Earth. All right, so this is basically what I'm getting at here. This is how life in ancient time grew to such ridiculous sizes. There was simply less gravity, right? This is a life-size reconstruction. This is not a real one, of course, or one that they dug up. It's a reconstruction, basically, of a fossil that they found. This is what insects grew to millions of years ago. It's crazy. Plants, trees did the same thing. Everything just grew bigger, right? And there's really only one explanation for this. So let's pull up here. Let's go to Google here. And I want to show you a few things. So first of all, what I want to do is bring that down. I want to pull this up. And this is an older image of the seafloor, the original ones that were done, I think in the 60s, probably earlier, but they're extremely accurate, right? And in comparison, we're going to concentrate here on the Atlantic Ridge section here. You can see how this ridge line here, how it matches up on Google Earth. You can clearly see it, right? You zoom in, you can see like the planet's been stitched together. These are expansion lines though. This right here, okay? Let's make it big screen. All right, there's a reason why, think about this for a second. The ocean floor is about 280 million years old. Okay? Why is that? Why are the continents, the age that they are? 4.5 billion years old, like the age of the planet, but yet the ocean floor is only 280 million years old, and no fossils are ever found in the ocean older than 200,000 years old. Right? So this is because it is growing from these center points, cracks. Okay, and you can, when you zoom in, you can see the lines, right? On either side. This is where it's growing and spreading, and it goes all the way around the planet. Now, what I want to do is just go around the planet here and show you how the continents line up and match up. Okay, so we're going to start with the most obvious part, and that's the Atlantic spread, which is being measured. And of course, I should have written this down, but I don't. It's a couple centimeters, I think, a year that the spread is actually happening. This is occurring right now as we speak. But they explain this, with subduction. They say, okay, well, it's spreading there, right? Now that would mean that the Earth is growing. But to counteract that, we're going to say, it's basically the planet is eating itself, right? So it's growing, but then it's subducting at the same time, basically inside of itself. Where that is, extra mass is going, I don't know, but that's what they say. So anyway, let's just get back into this here, and I'm going to show you how the continents line up. Okay, so Atlantic Ridge here, and you can clearly see, okay, this part. Okay, a child could see this, right? And when it's on a globe like this, it just all falls together. You can clearly see it. I can clearly see it anyway. Once you start looking at this more, you'll be able to clearly see it. It's just amazing. Look at how, okay, obviously, let's start at the very top. This is the top of the globe. Now see, people don't put this together because when they usually see a map, it's imprinted into their mind as two dimensions. We have this vision in our head of a two-dimensional world because of the basic two-dimensional map that we're used to, right? This one. Now, of course, the one that we always see in schools and stuff doesn't have the ocean floor mapped, but it's this, right? Right? It's Asia on both sides with, North America and South America in the middle. The world does not look like this, but this is how we visualize it in our mind when we see it. And so, like, when you look at it like this, it doesn't really fit together right. And it doesn't because it's two-dimensional, right? But on 3D, look at this. You can clearly see, here's the ridge line. right? And you can see how even the land masses and islands like are follow the same shape as the mainland, where they all fit. Greenland would fall in place here. The top part of Russia and Sweden and Norway and Great, they would join right here at this line. This is the joining mark, right? You follow it down, right? See? Be here, this would be here. You know, the most obvious part, right? North America, Africa, South America. Just follow the lines and look at the ridge and look at just right all the way down, right? There, there, right? But that's as really as far as anyone's really looked at it, right? But I'm going to show you how the other continents fit together too. As you keep going, even Madagascar here looks like it would just fall right in line. And this is what happens as it stretches. Think of a balloon. As you blow a balloon up with, you'd put, pieces of paper on the outside of the balloon, right? And they'd be together when you started blowing it up. And as more air went into it, they would expand apart, like the land masses are doing, right? Okay. And I'm gonna show you how they all fit together. So if you follow it, here is, of course, Antarctica on the bottom. Africa would come down here. South America, this would twist just slightly, so South America's tail would fit under Africa's tail, and they'd all join together here. And of course, you can clearly see how Australia just joins up with Antarctica. Okay? See? And those would slide up here. Okay, now this is the part that's a little harder to see, is the Pacific expanse. Okay, so we've just joined up basically 3/4 of the world, right? Or let's say half, okay? Because the Pacific spread is just so big, okay? Nobody can really see how the continents fit, right? Like they do over here, right? You can't, it doesn't look like they fit together. And even when you look at it on a two-dimensional map, right? But it does. And when you see, look at this shape here. Now remember, they're not going to be exact, right? But the overall shape is going to be nailed, because you have to remember that the sea level is different, okay? But, okay, let's back up. Okay, so, for example, we're trying to line up the West Coast with Asia over here, okay? So, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it already. Look at, see this ridge here? This, or not ridge, I would, this is like a stretch mark, kind of, where it, right, it grew straight all the way here, right? And then kind of this is like a bump in the ridge, or it skipped over and stretched again. To see how this lines up with this, okay, right here. This lines up with that, which lines up with this. Okay, so if this here is basically this, okay, so imagine, bam, West Coast is right here. And now it's right here. And it all of a sudden lines up with Australia and Asia. It's a little harder to see like this. I'm going to show you an animation here when I'm done and put links. Now, I'm not done here though, but see, it continues, right? Because look at this part here. Now, I can imagine many millions of years ago that this would have been, or maybe even not millions of years ago. Let's just go back to Atlantis, right? This could explain what happened with Atlantis. The Earth went through an expansion period where great fissures were opened up, and the world was basically flooded in an instant, kind of like the the Great Flood and it wiped everything out. And so, okay, anyway, so this part here, this land part here that's kind of shaped like an arrow, I guess, if you're looking at it from left to right, right? It's going to fit right here. Bam. Right? Because at one point, this spread was closed. Okay? See? So we just went around the entire globe and I showed you how all the continents fit together. Okay? It's amazing. Now, I wanted to compare these two charts because something is amiss with Google Earth. I can't quite put my finger on it as to what's going on, but it looks, maybe they're hiding the fact that the Earth is growing because it is just so visible to, once you know what to look for on a globe, it's right there. Okay, so let's compare again. Okay. This is not exactly professionally done here, but you'll get the idea, right? Do my best to line these up so you can see the difference, right? So concentrate on here. I'm sorry. Okay, it's better. Okay, this ridge here. You can see it. You can clearly see. The point is that this on the right, this map here of the ocean floor is extremely accurate, okay? Extremely. And I'm going to show you how accurate, and this is how something is not amiss, or something is amiss here, okay? So you can clearly see it up above here. Greenland, right? Zoom in. See, you don't even have to zoom in. You can see it from afar, right? You can see it. It's a clear line coming down. You follow it all the way down, right? All the way down, and it's very, even this right here, this mark seems to be an extremely deep ridge or cut or a fissure or break, right? Like you can clearly see it, okay? And it seems to be right here as well. Like this would be where that would be. So it's very accurate, both, right? Follow it all the way down, right? Down to the bottom here. There it is. There it is. Right? Up over here into India. Past Africa, around Madagascar, right? There it is. Up there. See it? Follow it. See the line? Where the hand is, right? Right there. Okay. Now, this is where things get interesting. Because after that, it just seems to kind of disappear and fade away on Google Earth. Okay, so let's, again, we're going to look at it from this side. Okay, this is from the Pacific side. Because I was up looking at this the other night, because I'm a dork, and I just wanted to compare the two maps, and I couldn't understand why I could not see the Pacific Ridge line or the striation mark, I guess you'd call them. I call them stretch marks for, it's not a very scientific term, but that's basically what's happening here, okay? So, look, okay, back out a bit, let's turn it around. Getting better at navigating Google Earth here. It was extremely difficult before. Okay, so let's compare, all right? Since we just saw how accurate it is and how clearly visible this Atlantic Ridge line is on Google Earth, then the Pacific one should also be clearly visible, okay? It's the Pacific one right here. Let's compare, okay? See the Pacific one? You can see it. It's just as clear as on the other side, right? We should be seeing this on Google, like clearly. We should be seeing it, okay? But we're not. Look at This is the Yucatan Peninsula. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, but anyway, it should be here. There should be a ridge line, clearly visible. There should be stretch marks, expansion marks, let's call them, okay? All the way up the west coast, all the way. See? There's nothing there, right? Definitely not like over here on this side, right? You can clearly see it. We should clearly see it on this side, but we don't. We don't see anything. You see, so it should go all the way down past South America, right? And wrap back around under Australia and above Antarctica. Okay? Let's see. There's nothing there. Nothing. Nothing that resembles over on the Atlantic side and back down around nothing. It should come down, right? Let's back out a bit. All right? So it should be coming down here, right? And underneath, right in between. Right? So in order to compare better, let's just flip this. Actually, sorry. Okay, Australia on the top. Back out a bit. All right. Okay, so, and figure out what I'm doing. As you can see, right here, expansion lines with a ridge line in the middle. We should see something here, right? Should come underneath, wrap, New Zealand underneath, through Antarctica. We don't see anything here, okay? Nothing. Why is that? We should see this. Now, I did some digging and found out there should be an overlay in this program to show the Pacific ridge lines. They're actually expansion lines. They call them tectonic plate lines. That's not what they are. They're expansion lines. And I saw somebody else pop it up on a video they did, but for the life of me, I went through every single filter or layer, you'd call them, and I don't have it on this. Maybe it's because I have the cheap free version of Google. Maybe if I upgrade, I get that. I don't know, but I couldn't find it. Right? So, it might show you where the ridge line should be if you have the proper layer, but it's not showing it the way it's showing it on this side and around, this part of the world here. It just stops, right? And on the Pacific side, there's nothing there, as you can see. There should be a ridge line with expansion lines. There's nothing there. I found that extremely odd. And so here, obviously I zoomed in. Maybe I'm missing it. Okay. So what do I find? Instead of the ridge lines and expansion lines, I find these weird, straight, symmetrical lines like a city grid or an airport or something of that nature. They look like Nazca lines, but on the ocean. Like, look at this. What is that? I mean, I've heard a couple explanations put forth. And none of them really make any sense. One of them is that there's sonar mapping lines, okay, done by boats. But that doesn't really make any sense because when you zoom in on them, and I'm not going to do it right now, okay, you can do it if you want, but I've done it. These lines are like 6 miles across. So do boats, when they map with sonar, is their range a 6 mile wide line that's completely and absolutely straight, right? I mean, if you're a boat on water, can you maintain a perfectly straight line? I don't know. Can you? I don't think you can, right? And they're all over the place. Look, look at this. Look at it. This is like look at this, like a square. Here's a patch here. Some of these lines go for like 20, 30,000 miles. I'll send you some links, but um, I can't remember his name right now. Zach something. He does a couple videos where his idea is that he thinks it's an ancient crawler, I think is what he says. Now, see, like underneath here, this is supposed to be where these ridge lines are, okay? But instead, we have this. These weird straight lines, right? You know, the line from Prometheus, God doesn't build in straight lines? He doesn't. This is super strange, right? And now when you zoom in on it though, the only thing is like it almost does look kind of like some sort of mapping thing because it looks like maybe the entire seafloor looks like these lines, and this area here is just imagery that is kind of out of focus. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. So anyone who has any ideas as to what is going on with these strange lines on Google Earth, and how have I never noticed them before? It's crazy. It doesn't really make any logical sense. I mean, if they were mapping the ocean floor with sonar, wouldn't they just be going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until, certain area is all done and then just keep moving along? These just seem to be, in just weird random places that don't really make any sense. Ancient civilization, underwater, like I don't know. So yeah, there you have it. The Earth fits together, just on a smaller globe. It's expanding or growing, whichever, you know, word you like better. It doesn't really matter, but the fact remains the same here, that the evidence is clear as day. We live on an expanding Earth. And I'm going to leave you with this, guys. Thank you. And I am not going to leave you with that. My bad. Let's see. Where did I put it? All right. I had this all set up before. I guess it ruined it. So my presentation isn't as clean as I wanted it to be here. So I apologize for that. All right. But here you go, guys. Have a good day. All right. And look into this. Okay. Because this is really what's going on. And, I mean, think about this. Everyone's in school is being taught, you know, this this false reality about, you know, that the Earth has been the same size its entire existence, and the evidence is clear that that's just not the case. And it's going to open up so many doors and possibilities. I believe that the powers that should not be already know. Okay. And they're using the knowledge against us. So there we go, guys. Enjoy.